travel for various purposes, to explore the culture of soils, to view the curiosities of art, to survey the beauties of nature, and to learn the manners of men and their politics and their mode of life. The following little work proposes a new object of pursuit, that of examining the face of a country by the rules of picturesque beauty. Welcome to the Wye Tour. Today is our third stop. We and the cast are travelling from Ross-on-Wye to Chepstow, taking 2 days along the beautiful Wye Valley, reenacting the famous Wye Tour of the late 18th century. Today, here we are at Symond's Yacht to perform for you a half-an-hour section of our show, Wye Oh, Wye, which you may be asking yourself in half an hour. So we have our cast ready, and the Wye Tour, and mezzo-soprano Pippa Longman.
The Wye Tour owes its origins to the Reverend John Egerton, rector of Ross-on-Wye in the 1740s. He entertained his friends by taking them down the river on a pleasure boat. The idea caught on, and by the 1770s, the commercial version was becoming established as a 2-day trip. Tourists were taken from Ross to Monmouth, and then on the second day, from Monmouth to Chepstow.
And as you see, ladies and gentlemen, art continues even to the present day. There's a young man here sketching away. Are you an artist, sir? No. Have you come far? Yes. Very good. Why do you sketch? Doesn't look anything like her. Very good. He's obviously not an artist. The boat that was used in the 18th century had a protective awning, which you will see in a moment, and a table for sketching, like this young man is doing, and of the important viewpoints along the route. And the stopping places had picnics, and you could sit and be blown away by the gusts of wind that ensue. And yes, and here we are. How is the boat? Blowing away. Ladies and gentlemen, we arrive at Symond.
In 1783, the book that was to become the essential companion was finally published. The Reverend William Gilpin's Observations on the River Wye, relative chiefly to picturesque beauty. Gilpin laid down rules for assessing the picturesque quality of the views encountered on the trip down the river. His extreme ideas were exposed to ridicule by some, but the search for the picturesque scene became an obsession for the growing number of people who followed faithfully in his footsteps. The Wye Tour can be seen as the first packaged tour, and the lower Wye Valley has been hailed as the birthplace of British tourism. Such was its importance.
The rules of the picturesque. Heather, did you manage to catch the boat from Ross to Goodrich to Symond's Yacht? Here comes Heather, ladies and gentlemen, with the rules of the picturesque. Welcome.
The most perfect river views are composed of 4 grand parts. The area, which is the river itself, the 2 side screens, which are the opposite banks, and the front screen, which points out the winding of the river.
Beginners, please. Scene 3, the Wye Tour arrives in Symond's Yacht.
The wild meanderings of the beauteous Wye.
I'm sorry, I played them when you were speaking, Heather. Like, say it again. Honestly, you just can't get the professionals these days. I'm terribly sorry. Would you say that again?
Start hence with us and trace with raptured eye the wild meanderings of the beauteous Wye.
Thank you.
Start hence with us and trace with raptured eye. Start hence with us and trace with raptured eye the wild meanderings of the beauteous Wye. Start hence with us and trace with raptured eye. Start hence with us and trace with
and Symond's Yacht! Symond's Yacht. Oh, welcome to Symond's Yacht! Symond's Yacht, also known affectionately in the 18th century as Cold Nose, as it was never in the sun, which is today proves wrong. Yes, it was pronounced then Symond's Yacht, after Robert Symond, Sheriff of Herefordshire, and a yacht. Does anybody know what a yacht is? Do you know what a yacht? Symond's Yacht. Do you know what a yacht is? A yacht is a gate. So, Symond's Gate. There we are. So here, we are now, I'd like to act out a scene from the 18th century for you. The river, as you can see, takes a sweep round a towering promontory of rock, which forms the side screen on the left. You see? Yes. Do sketch it if you'd like. You've got your sketchbooks there. Anybody, young man, you can sketch it if you'd like to turn on him. Can't go, yes, very good. Near the top, a rock has rather a fantastic appearance. Its lower skirts are adorned with a hamlet, in the midst of which volumes of thick smoke, thank you, thrown up at intervals from an iron forge, add double grandeur to the scene. The whole river, at this place, makes a precipitated fall. Enough of merit to give it the name a cascade. Though to the eye above the stream, it is an object of no consequence. In all the scenes we had yet passed, the water moving with a slow and solemn pace. Here below, the violence of the stream and the roaring and the tossing of the bark impressed a new character upon the scene. All was agitation and uproar, and every steep and every rock stared with wildness and terror.
Most of our party ascended a mountain halfway between Ross and Monmouth called Symond's Gate. Climbing this tremendous to seek conducted my guide at the expense of no inconsiderable labour. I found my mind on reaching the summit, perfectly amazed at contemplating the immense and varied grandeur of the landscape around. I was then many hundred feet above the surface of the river, and viewed from hence the whole scene fairyland. Turning round, how shall I express to you my surprise at beholding the same river flowing beneath, divided only by the narrow precipice on which I stood.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to make that very journey, you go through that gate there. That is the very path of which Teresa speaks, and the view is up there beyond the trees. So we've got nothing better.
A disagreeable scene generally occurs here and interrupts the pleasure of contemplation. A large assemblage of beggars, men, women and children, really barefooted and scarcely allowed to cover them, followed our boat, imploring charity, and several almost throwing themselves into the river to catch on money. Every now and then, I was to subsist on the trifles they obtained from strangers, and as beggary is their professed trade, if their wants are not satisfied, they generally add with an oath to their demand.
And hark, I hear distant anvils.
On the opposite side of the river are the vast iron forges, which are well worth visiting. The hammers that beat and shake the fiery mass, though the sound may be grating to the ear of sensibility. Still be it remembered how useful are its purposes, and how valuable is every part of manual labour that tends to produce the comforts and conveniences of life.
Hark, I hear a clarinet.
Walked out at night. The person wearing his nose is very different.
I'm sorry, what was his name?
Signor Rossignol. The song of every bird in the wood.
Robert Bloomfield refers to the clarinet being played on the boat at New Weirby along Symond. It was one of those charming days that gratify us with their serenity and peace. The clarionet sounded softly, yet the echo was perhaps the more enchanting.
Fino al verbo del mio cor.
for Wye